All right, Charles Band. He started Charles Band Productions in 1973 after he worked a week on this AIP movie called The Little Cigars Mob, or just The Little Cigars. It was an AIP movie. Um, then I know his dad had a hand in producing it for Sam Arkoff, and he worked one week on it, and then he jumped and he started making his own movies. So here's from Wikipedia. Charles Band Productions went from 73 to basically 83, 84, because that's when his first stuff was coming out. But what happened here is he made a movie. The guy talked him into doing The Last Foxtrot in Burbank, which was released by Charles Band in two theaters called Federated Film Corporation. So that was his first releasing company. And then he went with Brandon Chase as Group One for the next three movies: Mansion of the Doomed in 1975, which is a really good movie, a horror movie. Cinderella, the dirty nursery rhyme flick, or a fairy tale movie, and then Crash, which is really out there about the possessed car with that little trinket thing from '77. So he alluded to that Brandon Chase cheated him on money. I mean, they don't come out and say that; it's alleged. And Brandon Chase passed away like about a year or two ago, so he's no longer with us. So you can't get his side of the story. But then after that, he went with Irwin Yablans. He did End of the World in 1977, which is it's all right. Um, Christopher Lee is the alien priest. Auditions, which 1978, which is basically a video movie. It went right to video. Laser Blast made a lot of money because it was the first sci-fi movie released after Star Wars. Fairy Tales Distribution, Mid America Releasing. So it looks like Irwin Yablans had nothing to do with that one. Tourist Trap he put out through Compass International, which was Irwin Yablans' company after they did Halloween. They put that out. The Daytime End in 1980, Compass International. And then the Best of Sex and Violence from 1980 was a Wizard video movie. Famous TNA from 1982 is a Wizard video movie. Parasite from 1982, Embassy Pictures released that. Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Sin from 1983, Universal put that out. Film Gore from 1983 is basically a video movie, and Walking the Edge is a leftover from 1985. That was a pickup that they don't own the rights to that anymore. So this list is kind of wrong. And then you get into this Empire releases. I've covered that under a different part of this movie documentary. The Alchemist from 1983. That's a Charles Band. He actually directed that in 1981, and then he bought the North American rights to it. So if you look at Empire, it really starts around 84 with Dungeon Master, Ghost Warrior, Trancers, and Ghoulies. So Ghoulies was the first big hit for them. But Charles Band Productions, so he did, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He did about 11 movies, and then he did 1, 2, 3, about 4 video movies, like right to video. And he owned the Meta Home Entertainment, which ended up selling to another company, and they renamed it Media Home Entertainment. But that's what he owned. Irwin Yablans was a partner in there, and there was 2 other brothers. I got to look up their names. I'm going to do a part of this documentary is going to cover that. But very interesting. He went from being a production assistant on an AIP movie to getting the financing. And how he got the financing was that's a good story in itself. Is he bought some newspapers that covered like basically 50 years in the New York Times. And he got a friend that went on Johnny Carson, and they presented him with, it was framed on his date of birth, so you could buy these things. They were gift wrapped or whatever. And he made a couple $100,000 doing that, and that was how he got into making movies. So he come up with a way to get seed money to start his movie making business. Because other than the production assistant on that Little Cigars, the only other experience he had was he was on the set when his dad was making movies in Italy. So that was really interesting that happened. And like Last Foxtrot in Burbank, that's a terrible movie. It's bad. Mansion of the Doomed is probably the best one here out of his early stuff. Laser Blast isn't bad. It gets a lot of hate. Tourist Trap is good. Laser Blast, it's not bad. It's got the first stop motion animation in it, basically, that they ever did. And then Chuck Connors as the evil wax museum owner in the Tourist Trap, and they had Tanya Roberts in there. So that's a good House of Wax movie. Daytime Ended, where that takes place out in the desert at a house that's getting attacked by aliens. It's kind of slow. That's got some David Allen work in there too. That isn't bad. Parasite, horror movie made for Embassy Pictures, that made some money. Bigger distributor. Metal Storm was the one that really got him going here. The Destruction of Jared Sin. He ended up selling it United States rights to Universal, and he kept the rest of the world. So they filmed that in 3D. And then this Walking the Edge, Empire put this out. So here's when it was released by Lightning Video, but they don't own the rights to this anymore. So the rights expired on this one. Sergei Goncharov was the producer. So more than likely he's got something to do with owning this. But, they did a few movies here and there. But a lot of, hit or misses until they started getting some real financing. So they did the best what they could. They did 11 movies and then another 4 made for video projects. And then he was making money with Wizard Video and Meta Home Entertainment. So that's basically the crust of where he was getting a lot more of his financing for the stuff, was basically in a box making video movies.